Welcome everyone that is here in person and everyone that is here online. So welcome to Unity of Pomona Valley's Palm Sunday service today, the 29th of March. This is a triumphant day, a day in the Christian calendar that we celebrate the amazing walk that Jesus made to Jerusalem and his entry into that famous city on the back of a donkey. And we're going to be talking about that. I think Drac is going to be talking about that. We love Jesus and we love the way that he shows us the way to be, the way to go, and tells us, shares his wisdom and his consciousness of God. And when we take on that same consciousness, we often call it Christ consciousness. And that is the goal of many spiritual seekers, is to gain that consciousness, that wisdom that helps us navigate the challenges that we have in life. I don't know about you, but anybody else have challenges in their life? So we are not in the Garden of Eden anymore. And so I just invite you to imagine what it would be like if you had a greater and greater expression of the divine moving in and through you, guiding you step by step through your days. I don't think we get a lot of ahead stuff. Some people do, but certainly moment to moment we can tune into the guiding and where does this step go and how do I do this next step. And so we move into a greater and greater consciousness, which is what we have been working with these 12 power weeks of opening up different faculties within us so that we can be a greater expression of the one in the world. So we welcome your donations. We welcome, and people who are online, anyone can mail to us, and that information will be coming up later. But let us begin with singing. This is a song Drac brought to us, and Drac is here. He's our musician this morning, and we are opening to the flow.
Open to the flow, and then I let go. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. I open to the flow, and then I let go. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. Oh, I surrender. Oh, I surrender. Oh, I surrender. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. I open to the flow, and then I let go. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. I open to the flow, and then I let go. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. Oh, I surrender. Oh, I surrender. Oh, I surrender. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. Let's do it one more time. I open to the flow, and then I let go. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. I open to the flow, and then I let go. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. Oh, I surrender. Oh, I surrender. Oh, I surrender. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul. I open my mind, my heart, and my soul.
I invite invite you to just take that in, that openness. And in this openness, let us pray. I invite you to let the words I speak be your words. These are words on the power of love from Unity Minister Reverend Bronte Colbert. Today, I open my heart and mind to the spiritual power of love. I am a radiant expression of divine love, a brilliant stream of infinite possibilities. This love beams from me and shimmers in a rainbow of colors as I love others. Each day is an opportunity to love. I look for places and people I can silently bless. If I watch the news, I use it as a tool to know where to focus my prayers, my love, and my positivity. I look for the uplifting examples of loving kindness that abound in this world. I find creative ways to perform acts of kindness. A small gift, a large tip, a positive note, a compliment. I infuse my smiles with light and love. When I choose to keep my mind focused on unconditional love as the greatest power in my life, then I create experience greater possibilities than I have ever imagined. Today I affirm, I welcome love, joy, success, health, wisdom, abundance, and harmony into my life. Today I welcome love, joy, success, health, wisdom, abundance, and harmony into my life. And so it is. Amen and amen. And now let us sing the Lord's Prayer. It is time for our announcements. our announcements are important because we not only pray, but we move our feet. We do the work. We do the work in our lives, and we do the work in our community. So we do the work here with each other, as after the service we meet and share food together. And I thank those who have brought food today, including Drac, who has ordered a bunch of food for us in honor of Kwang's birthday. So we are celebrating his birthday today. We have prayer and meditation on Zoom on Wednesday evenings from 4:30 to 5:30. And then we have our book study, which is very interesting, on the classic Let There Be Light, which is how do we live and how do those stories of the Old Testament live within us? And what do they mean? And what do they mean for us? And we're all different. So it's a very interesting class. Compassionate Pomona's next meeting is April 2nd, and again, it's a Zoom. Anyone can join. This is the last of our 12-Power series, and we are tuning into the power of love with Reverend Drac Duella today. So I look forward to his message, and it is Palm Sunday. So in this church, we have palms here, and we do our traditional Rejoice in the Lord Always palm dance up and down the aisle until we go outside and bless the world with that consciousness of love. So I look forward to that. We have many refugees in our community, and there is a group, the Newcomers Access Center is here in Claremont, and they help support refugees from many countries. They are having their gala fundraiser. It is $130 a ticket, and it is on April 12th at the Ontario Doubletree. And there is it's a wonderful dinner, and they have an auction that people can browse and buy. I bought a bunch of paintings there last year. So I invite you to take a chance and get a ticket and support those people that are here. It's very difficult for refugees at this time, more difficult than ever. So if you can do that, and if that is on your heart, please do. Next month, and that's next month is next week, it's Easter. We are having a class on prosperity starting the week after Easter with Nancy and Drac. And they're going to do on the 3rd and 4th Sundays after church, after lunch, a prosperity class. So I invite you all. Oh, I've got your name not spelled right on that track. So some letters slipped off. I don't know where they went, into the gold, a pot of gold maybe. Yeah. So so put that on your calendars, and there's many types of prosperity, and we're going to be learning about a lot of that with them on Sunday mornings and in the class. We continue to collect things, so I invite you to continue to bring hygiene articles for the Pomona schools and food for the UCC church to give out. And then again, a reminder, let us set our clocks for 1 p.m. every day and just spend a couple of minutes meditating or praying for peace on earth. As the world prays together, may it manifest. And since everything comes from the one, we know that let us affirm our prosperity with this affirmation, and Liz will pass the basket. Together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all I am, all I give, all I do, and all that I receive. Thank you, Liz, for passing the basket, and I invite Jackie Morrison to make her way up to give us the daily word today. Thank you, Liz.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The word for today is Palm Sunday. On Palm Sunday, I honor the divine presence within. Together. On Palm Sunday, I honor the divine presence within. On Palm Sunday, Jesus made his triumphant entry into Jerusalem, riding a donkey colt, spiritually symbolizing dominion of the Spirit over human nature. Today I find inspiration in that timeless Bible story. Going forward, I commit myself to mastering my impulses and judgments and continually surrendering my imperfections to the Christ within. My commitment in regularly going to the upper chamber of my consciousness smooths the rough edges of my mind and opens my heart to perfect love and purity. By following Jesus' example, I proceed with courage and confidence along the path of fulfillment and transcendence. And from John 12:46, I have come as light into the world, so that everyone who believes in me should not remain in the darkness.
Thank you, Jackie. And as I sit here and look at the screen, I realize, David, I didn't open the curtain quite far enough to see all of the slide. So if you can open it a little, there you, oh, look at that. Okay, there you go, thank you. I didn't know it needed to go all the way over. Okay. And now we get to sing one of my favorites, our Palm Sunday song, Hosanna, Loud Hosanna.
I love this one too because as a Catholic growing up, we did this one too, and I loved it.
So I invite you to stand if that feels comfortable. If it doesn't, you can stay seated. But this is a song of really rejoicing. So.
Turn up the volume.
It is so joyful. It is. So a reminder that our unity lessons are guides, and as we share our ideas and those of others, we invite you to take what works for you and leave the rest. Maybe it's a seed that's planted that someday will be beneficial to you, or maybe not. it is up to you and your higher consciousness as to what you need to take from this service. And today we are talking about not only Palm Sunday and Jesus, but we are talking about the power of love. The power of love in ourselves, in our lives, in the world, in the divine. And so we have Reverend Drack with us to share his perspective on that, and I will give some of my perspective as well as others. So the 12 powers, this is the 12th one. We've been doing this for 3 months, and for me this is like the culmination. This is the last power we're talking about, and we all have these powers physically present in our bodies. And some of them are fully open, and we are channeling spirit. Some of them are maybe a little bit open, and those are ones that we're ready to open and pay more attention to and let more of that Christ light and wisdom flow through us. So each power we've talked about, and now with all of them, we can be greater channels for the divine in the world and feel the joy of that. This is a triumphant day, a day that even though Jesus knew he was coming into challenges in Jerusalem, still there was a sense of triumphancy in that. And we need to own our own triumphancy, right? Because even though we have challenges, there is a joy present within us that needs to be expressed and felt. So I have a couple of humor, a little bit of humor. So this is, they're all lined up to wave their palms, and Jacob says, the stutterer told me it was Pom-Pom Sunday. And so there's a guy with pom-poms instead of palms, all lined up to celebrate the day. So I thought that was cute. I mean, how much do we want to fit in? You know, that you get into all of that too, right? Yeah. Did you have something to say, Drac?
No, I was looking at the quote that was up, you'd switched. I was like, oh, you go switch to the next a quote on the screen after this that I was touched by.
Oh, okay. So do you believe in love at first sight, or should I walk by again?
Oh, that's really sweet.
You know, I love that because there's so many levels that operates at in our lives. And in reality, I think it's ours to love everyone. But how many times do we have to see them and know them, to see inside them, you know, the namaste. I see the divine in you. I acknowledge the divine in you. I love the divine in you. And it's in everyone, right? But how many times do people have to walk by us before we can see that divine? So, the power of love. It truly is a presence that binds us together. And it binds us with each other. It binds us with the divine. And it binds us with all creation. There is nothing that God has made that we are not connected to. If we have the consciousness to see and experience that. So, love. It's understood, this is one of the definitions. Love is the ability to attract, desire, and unify. The disciple is seen as John. He represents unconditional acceptance and forgiveness. This corresponding color is pink. The location is the heart. And the affirmation, one of the affirmations is, I am a center of love. I invite you to say that with me. I am the center of love. So love is used throughout the Bible, the Hebrew Testament, the New Testament, and these are a couple of the quotations that I found that speak to me, and particularly for this day. 1 Corinthians 13, 4 and 5, love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. I read that and I realize how far I am from having that center totally open. And yet that's a path, right? It's a guide to help us understand where we are on that road. From 1 John 4:16, and so we know and rely on the love that God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. From Colossians 3, and over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. And from 1 Peter, above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. And from 1 Corinthians 13 again, if I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. Do you like those?
Mm-hmm.
We can learn from our scriptures, can't we? So Unity's understanding of love, I found some quotes from a quote from Myrtle and a quote from Charles. But it doesn't say it's Charles, but it is. So Myrtle says, love is the greatest thing in the world, for God is love. It is the spiritual currency that makes those who give and those who receive it rich beyond any material standard of comparison. You know, it is our currency, love. And from Charles, love, the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family. Of all the attributes of God, love is undoubtedly the most beautiful. In divine mind, love is the power that joins and binds in divine harmony the universe and everything in it, the greatest harmonizing principle known to man. Divine love is impersonal. It loves for the sake of loving. It is not concerned with what or who it loves, nor with a return of love. Like the sun, its joy is in shining forth its nature. That is our nature. And yet, how many barriers do we have to letting that nature shine out? There are some steps to developing our power of love. The first step is interest. Focus your interest on God and on finding God in your world. Seek out good in all persons and situations. There was a typo there. Seek out good everywhere. Number 2, acquaintance. Your increased interest will lead you to a deeper search for personal knowledge. Step 3, affection. Affection is a warm feeling that grows in you, awakening a fondness which leads you to such a good feeling about God that you want to experience a greater realization of divine love. Attraction. When you let it take over your life and transform you, the magnetic power of love is stronger than any force in the universe. You see things in a new light. And then we move on to step 5, love. You are now so in tune with God's love that you are seeing good everywhere, even in appearances which seem contrary. Love radiates, attracts, heals, and harmonizes. 6, identification. Identification happens when you feel yourself one with God. Your desire an even stronger, deeper bond, something which will reinforce this oneness in all things, at all times, in all ways. And finally, at one-ment, step 7. One of the most beautiful prayers in the Bible is when Jesus revealed to the disciples his realization of oneness with God, with them, and with all who were to follow. I in them and you in me, that they may become completely one. That is from John 17. Your greatest desire is to express God's love, to identify with it, and to be it. We feel that from time to time, don't we? And yet, can we feel it more? I know I can feel it more. I can be it more. Yes, yes. And so the work continues. And as we do this, this work in unity, we know that the Christian tradition is not the only tradition. The New Thought tradition is not the only tradition that teaches about love. All of our faith traditions do that. And here's a few that I pulled up for us today. From the Muslim tradition, this is Rumi. What is this precious love and laughter budding in our hearts? It is the glorious sound of a soul waking up. Oh, that's Hafiz. The Rumi one is, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. So the love is there, the love is us. We're created in the image of God, love, right? So as we remove this barrier and this fear and that fear, then we open more and more. From another, Hazrat Inayat Khan writes, the whole manifestation is the manifestation of love. God himself is love. So the love which comes from the source returns to the source, and in this, the purpose of life is accomplished. And finally, another Khan quote, love is the essence of all religion, mysticism, and philosophy. A few more from Hazrat Inayat Khan. It is therefore that the service of the great ones, such as Jesus Christ, Buddha, Moses, Muhammad, and others, who came from time to time to serve humanity in a small or great way, has been a service of love and affection in order to raise humanity by their own example, their own ideas, their own love. Christian Martin Luther King writes, hatred and bitterness can never cure the disease of fear. Only love can do that. And Mother Teresa writes, every time you smile at someone is an action of love, a gift to that person, a beautiful thing. And Martin Luther King also says, when I am commanded to love, I am commanded to restore community, to resist injustice, and to meet the needs of my brothers and sisters. And finally, from Penitent Children, when you open yourself to the continually changing, impermanent, dynamic nature of your own being and of reality, you increase your capacity to love and care about other people and your capacity to not be afraid. You're able to keep your eyes open, your heart open, and your mind open. And you notice that when you get caught up in prejudice and bias and aggression, you develop an enthusiasm for no longer watering those negative seeds from now until the day you die. and you begin to think of your life as an offering, endless opportunities to start to do things differently. And from the Baal Shem Tov of the Jewish tradition, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Why? Because every human being has a root in the unity, and to reject the minutest particle of the unity is to reject it all. And so now I welcome Reverend Drac Ruella, to come up and to share his experience, his stories, his wisdom with us. Let's give him a hand. Yay, Drac! Come on back.
Oh, thank you for that. We could even close that other one if you want, because I won't really get everything set up for the end. Close up though, for sure. I brought it up. Yeah. There it is. There it is. Thank you. Much appreciated. What would we do without David? It would be kind of rough. So today I'm going to focus on the sacrifice of love. Given we're in Palm Sunday and next Friday is going to be Good Friday, I thought it was a really neat thing to explore. It's a piece of love that wasn't exactly listed in the steps, I guess, that we take to get to the point of at-one-ment, but it's a very vital thing that unfolds during the process. And with what I'm going to talk about, I'll be talking about pretty much mostly the first 4 to 5 steps, because this is where it unfolds, is in there. And I have quotes as well. I didn't know you were going to have so many. Mine are shorter, though.
I'm sorry, Drac.
I'm just telling that to everybody else so they don't think, oh, it'll be super long. It won't. So, this first one is to remember that when you leave this earth, you can take with you nothing that you have received, only what you have given. A full heart enriched by honest service, love, sacrifice, and courage. That's St. Francis. I just love St. Francis. Isn't that beautiful?
I've never heard that.
Yeah. And this next one is, when you make the sacrifice in marriage, you're sacrificing not to each other, but to unity in a relationship. And that's Joseph Campbell. And this next one is, love sacrifices all things to bless the thing it loves. That just says it all in that one sweet one. And that's Edward Bulwer Lytton, the first Baron of Lytton. This one is, it isn't sacrifice if you love what you're doing. That's Mia Hamm. And that one really struck me the most. Although I will be talking about how it can be hard. And this last one is a little longer. It's by Eric Hoffer. The remarkable thing is that we really love our neighbor as ourselves. We do unto others as we do unto ourselves. We hate others when we hate ourselves. We are tolerant towards others when we tolerate ourselves. We forgive others when we forgive ourselves. We are prone to sacrifice for others when we are ready to sacrifice for ourselves. They didn't put the word for in there, but that's what that means. So, I'd like to talk a little bit about Jesus, not a lot here. We already know a lot about Jesus, I get it. But these pieces to me are very significant. First of all, given this time that we're going through, I think it's really important to say that Jesus was an immigrant. He was born in Bethlehem, a town far from his family's native area that was Nazareth. So he was an immigrant, and he was also, he and his family were also refugees because they had to flee to Egypt to escape King Herod's massacre of the infants. So already at this, as a tiny little baby, he had already stepped into these things. Adversity had already come into his life and had prepared him for the work that he was going to do later. There's a lot of places in the Bible that you look at, and you'll see how Jesus not only challenged the Roman government and the spiritual leaders, Jewish leaders of his time, but he also emphasized the importance of advocating for marginalized people and immigrants as well. So at that time, the Roman government was quite brutal. And I mean, I won't get into it, but if you even look it up, just go online and look up what the Roman government was like. It was brutal. It was a government that was set to maintain control and power, and anybody who looked like they were going to shake it the least bit, as Jesus did, wound up crucified on the side of the road as an example to people of what not to do, and that is to challenge Roman governmental authority. So Jesus, in his time, really was a radical. He really pushed the line a lot. He was called to challenge the way people saw things, the status quo, and he did this all with a remarkably profound love. He was just, I wish I could go back in time just to see him in action. He was amazing. He really was. And it started very young for him. So in those steps, the first three, I'm going to pull this out, that Reverend Jan talked about was interest and acquaintance and affection. And interest is when you cannot love anyone or anything that does not at first interest you. She talked about that. And acquaintance is when you're interested in something and you want to become better acquainted with it. And affection is the warm feeling that grows in you. That's an awakening. A fondness which leads you to a good feeling about, and we're talking about God, that you want to experience greater realization of the divine. These things were already established in Jesus naturally. He was a remarkable human being. He was so close to the divinity in himself and all of life around him. And as a young boy, he was already just had a thirst to understand God and get closer to God. You remember the story of Luke chapter 2, verses 41 through 52, where he was in the temple? Mm-hmm. Okay, so his parents had gone to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover, and he was only 12 years old. And they had to walk. You know, this took a day or so to get there. So they go to this festival, and they're coming back. They've been walking a day, and they didn't even realize Jesus wasn't with them. Yeah. They're like, oh, I won't say the word, but I'm sure they felt it. They turn around, they have to walk all the way back, and there he is, this temple, talking to all these teachers and leaders in there and asking questions that were way beyond his years. And way beyond the years of probably me. I mean, just his spiritual depth and wisdom was remarkable. His parents were like, what the are you doing here? And he said, why were you looking for me? Didn't you know I was in my Father's house? But they didn't understand what he was saying to them. So I mentioned this part because these first three steps were already naturally, inherently established in Jesus. They were already there. And then his birth into the world as an immigrant, and then becoming a refugee, and all of this, he had already, this experience of that was already established in the roots of his family. So already, his whole being was nourished and established and set to do the work that he was going to do in this world, to eventually lead to that ultimate sacrifice, that choice that he made. The next step, which is attraction, and I'll look at what that says here really quickly. I know I'm shuffling around papers, but attraction is when you let it take over your life and transform you, meaning God or Spirit. When you let this take over your life and transform you, the magnetic power of love is stronger than any force in the universe. And then what has happened after that? You start to see things in a new light. Now this this is where the sacrifice will start, let me tell you. So in Merriam-Webster, sacrifice is defined like this. It's the act of giving up or losing something of value for the sake of something else. And they say it's something of value given up or lost for the sake of something else. Kind of saying the same thing. The second one, I was fascinated with this. An act of offering to a deity something precious. Something offered in sacrifice. So we all know about Jesus as being compared to the sacrificial lamb that's talked about in the Old Testament. That he made a sacrifice. But I look at this kind of in a different way. Yes, that's real. And at the same time, I look at how he made a multitude of small sacrifices before he even got to that point. Things that you really don't see talked about in the Bible. I mean, the Bible can't track his every day he had. He gave up comfort of home and church. We're in the same spot. We get up every Sunday from the same home we've been in. He was on the road all the time with his disciples. He didn't have the comfort of having a set belief in a church. He was challenging the church because he was seeing things that people were not seeing. That's uncomfortable. He didn't have that comfort. He had already made so many sacrifices before he got to that point, because with that attraction to God and that unification that was occurring, he started to see things differently. The status quo did not work for him. He knew better. He knew better. He didn't have that luxury. He didn't have a wife and kids and a home, at least not to my knowledge. I know there's stuff written out that says maybe at some point he did, but I will never know. What I do know is that he did not have a lot of the comforts that we did, living the life that he did of so much challenge. But for me, I can talk about how I went through a process too. As human beings, we all go through this process where there's that interest that leads to that curiosity to know more, and that development that occurs in you as a result of that. As long as I can remember, as a little kid, I was fascinated with God. I wanted to know more about God. It was always there. And naturally, the older I got, the more I read books on spirituality. I read all kinds of stuff. I was just insatiable. And I'll never forget at that time when I reached that affection level, that third step, and I prayed to God. I said, please show me what love is. Help me to embody what love is. I want to know. I want to know how to do this. I want to know how to be this. I've mentioned this before. My friends, when I was going through this period in life, said, yeah, be careful what you pray for. And when you pray, duck.
Yeah.
Because I started to go through a profound awakening process. Now, I'm not enlightened. Of course I'm not. But an awakening means you just start to wake up. And invariably, when you start to wake up, all your old beliefs get challenged. They're going to get challenged. And the most challenging part of it all is the sacrifice that your ego goes through, because it wants to hold on to that stuff. Even though I didn't think I was holding on to some of my old Catholic beliefs that were a little bit detrimental to me about myself, they were in there. And I discovered that very quickly. And my comfort zone was deeply challenged. Why do I mention this? I mention this because we're talking about Jesus and the sacrifices he made and all of these steps that he went through, but we are going through it too, because remember, in my tradition, science, religious science, we say that Jesus was not the great exception, but he was the great example. He was an example to all of us of what we can be, of what we have the potential to be in this connection with divine source. So for Jesus, it was a sacrifice. It was hard on his ego too. You read about in the Bible where he sits in the Garden of Gethsemane and he's like crying and he's sweating bullets. The man is just saying, Father, could you just take this cup away from me? He didn't want to go and get crucified. Who would want that? He did not want that. What a harsh way to go. And yet, when he got there, He willingly accepted that, and he walked through that. There are all kinds of sacrifices that we make when we get to that point of attraction to God and that opening and that awakening that happens when we take that next step. Because when you begin to awaken, you'll need to sacrifice the way things were. It can be challenging and inconvenient, but it also opens you up to a richer and more fulfilling life. That's the result. And love asks no less of you, and it offers you so much more. It really does. With Jesus, even on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know. Because at that point, he had reached that next step. Step 5, you are now so in tune with God's love that you are seeing good everywhere, even in appearances which seem contrary. Love radiates, attracts, heals, and harmonizes. And then in the next step, in 6, it says identification. Identification is a point beyond loving God and loving good. It occurs when you feel yourself one with God. You desire an even stronger, deeper bond, something which will reinforce this oneness in all things, at all times, in all ways. Even at that point, when he was in that place, hanging there dying, he was able to say that. Because he had reached that point of identification and unification with God. 70 at 1, where he's completely unified that way. Something I can't even honestly imagine. But we can imagine it in our own ways. We can look at how, as we progress along this path, and I know everybody in this room can probably identify with it in some way, we have moments where we can see things more compassionately than we did before, where we can see the God in people even when something has been hurtful or difficult, where we can actually sit with and remember times where we had a pivot in how we saw life and how it's supposed to be as a result of our faith walk. That's what Jesus came to do, is to show us how that looked, how that is as a human being, but somebody who was so advanced that he could unify that way with so much love. I just love Maya Angelou. So I'm coming to a close. I'm not going to go very long. Whatever you want to do, if you want to be great at it, you have to love it and be able to make sacrifices for it. And I put here, so what does being great at it mean? What does it mean? To me, I think it simply means to be fully present for it. That thing that you love, just be fully present for it. Love it. Share it. No matter the cost. Because honestly, the cost is so small compared to what your life becomes as you do that. Maybe that means stepping more fully into a role of teaching your grandkid. Not a whole class, your grandkid. Maybe it means stepping more fully into the role of taking better care of your physical health. Maybe that's a stretch for you. It doesn't matter what that stretch is. It's when love calls you to do it. You're present for it. You love it and you share it no matter the cost, because you'll get paid back immensely. This is our joy. It's our privilege. So my question that I'll part with, so to speak, here is, what is it you love? What is it you love? And what is it you would sacrifice for in this love? Those are just thoughts. And as you're thinking about that, I'll just close with a small prayer. I'll put all these papers away. A religious science prayer with the 5 steps. So we know that God is present in this room. I mean, seriously, if God weren't present in this room, there wouldn't be anything here that exists. God is in everything. God moves the air in and out of my lungs. God causes the little noises and the twitches in this room, if we want to put it that way. We exist because we are that which was made by God. And that means I'm the same thing. Without this magnificent force, I wouldn't be here speaking. So I know that God is present in this room and that it's a part of who I am and that I breathe in this moment. And that this love that moves through me and moves through this moment moves through each and every one of us in this room, and that the truth of our existence and our reality is love. And that no matter what the circumstances are, there is an element of love embedded in each one of them, same as when Jesus went through what he did. The element of love was embedded in every difficult and beautiful choice he made. And look at what has become of that. Look at us. So we're grateful to know that love exists in all things. And we take this understanding, knowing that it is a seed planted in each and every one of us that continues to grow. And what a magnificent thing that is. And so it is. Right. So I'm going to play a song. I think everybody in here has heard it. It's just a part of it. And if you know it, just join me singing it. It's not too complicated. And after that, I will need you to come up here and do this after I do the song for the, because we have a couple of things we're going to do. Thank you, but not quite yet. Thank you so much, Stephen. Here, I'll put this down here. Okay. So this song is called Oh Happy Day.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, I chose this because, well, I was thinking it was twofold. I was thinking about how everybody was like, oh, happy day on Palm Sunday. But then everybody is all, oh, happy day when he rose again. So it just seems like it's just such a happy day to be connected with this understanding of Jesus this way. So, I'm just going to do this one. And really, you can join in at any point. Happy day, oh happy day, when Jesus washed, oh when he washed, when Jesus washed, he washed our sins away. Oh, it's a happy day. Oh, happy day, oh, happy day, when Jesus washed, oh, when he washed, when Jesus washed, he washed our sins away. Oh, it's a happy day. Taught me how to watch, fight and pray, fight and pray. He taught me how to wash away, wash my sins away. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day, when Jesus washed, when Jesus washed, oh, when he washed my sins away. Oh, it's a happy day. Oh, it's a happy day. Oh, it's a happy day. It's a happy day.
Woo!
Thanks. Well, I guess at this point, because so we can do our prayer that we do, and perhaps we've got something special to do.
We do. You want me to go up?
If you don't mind.
I don't mind. David, can you
This is
put
like
on
the highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've got the Rejoice in the Lord Always
Yes.
there, so we can just go to that.
Okay.
And the prayer that we do.
And our
next.
prayer for protection.
Yes, our prayer.
We'll do our prayer for protection, and then we are. And Liz is going to, you might as well pass those out now while we're getting set up, Liz. We've got palms for everybody, and we are going to do, we're not going to have a very big archway because we don't have a lot of people here, but we will sing and rejoice and wave our palms as we see the divine in each other. You know, and it is so important that as we see, we're mirrors for each other. So what the divine you see in another is the divine you see in yourself. So David, we hope you'll be a part of this. Huh? Pardon?
There's only one more thing to go to after we do these. Thank you so much, the prayer.
You have the words for the song too?
I
Okay.
do. Yeah, that's the only thing we'll need after this.
Okay.
So let's pray.
So let us say this prayer together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now, a little bit about the dance we're going to do. So we'll sing it through a couple of times, and then we'll stand in the aisle facing someone, and we'll put our palm branches. We'll raise them high and form an arch. Ah, Liz, thank you. Yay! We'll form an arch. And then the first couple go under the arch and down to the end, and then form the arch again at the end. And then the next does that. And we keep going in and through the arch until we're out the door and we're still singing and we're singing and having this vision of rejoicing in the Lord that is in everybody. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to open the back door so we can just go right out.
Yes, you need to do that. See? So,
Okay.
Drac will play it,
Yeah, I do. I've got one on the keyboard here.
and then once you get us into it, then we'll
Come
just
on out?
sing. Yeah, then come on and join us and
Okay.
let's go out. So let's sing it a couple of times.
All right. Rejoice in the Lord
Always and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always and again I say rejoice. Rejoice,
Rejoice in the Lord always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice.